This was not only a fight for justice, but a fight against the mistreatment, discrimination, and outright bigotry that black men and women suffer at the hands of state power, not just here in America, but around the globe. The death of George Floyd provoked such a reaction because folks in those communities knew a George Floyd of their own. Names of friends and colleagues who were tragically killed or suffered the brutal sting of racism sprang to their tongues. They still do. Philando Castile, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Daniel Prude, Sarah Bland. Each circumstance different, the underlying tragedy much the same. Their names and countless others serve as a reminder that a single verdict in a single trial will never be enough. It wasn't long ago that excessive force by police was never caught on iPhones or body cameras. It was out of sight and often beyond the reach of the law, which gave almost reflexive deference to police officers who were brought to trial, if they were ever brought to trial. So this was an important event for the American justice system. Not only were the events concerning George Floyd caught on camera, but the offending officer was tried and convicted in a court of law. Let it serve as the proper deterrent, a deterrent that should have existed long ago to the kind of egregious misconduct that led to George Floyd's death. However, and most certainly, we should not mistake a guilty verdict in this case as evidence that the persistent problem of police misconduct has been solved, or that the divide between law enforcement and so many of the communities they serve has been bridged. It has not. We must remain diligent in our efforts to bring meaningful change to police departments across the country, to reform practices and training, and the legal protections that grant too great a shield to police officers guilty of misconduct. We also must remain diligent in striving out to root out racial bias in our society, in our healthcare system, in jobs, in housing, in the economy, in the boardroom and at the ballot box, on our streets, and in our schools. This goes way beyond party or political faction. Racism strikes at the very core of this country. Justice, true justice, will not come until we finally banish the ancient poison of racism from the American soul. The Senate will continue to work as we strive to ensure that George Floyd's tragic death will not be in vain. We will not rest until the Senate passes strong legislation to end the systemic bias in law enforcement.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.